Hello everyone, we're back with James Bain. He is out of the hospital and he's doing okay. And it is Monday morning in Hong Kong. And what's going on there, James?
So it is Monday morning here in Hong Kong. It's 7:25 a.m. As you can see here behind me, there's a lot of police lined up. The supplies are being cleared as we speak by the Occupy protesters. They are leaving voluntarily, it seems like, but there's still a huge police presence. They're also setting up speakers to announce something pretty soon. There's a whole line of them just all behind me here. Something will go down in the next few minutes.
Okay. Yeah, they are lined up pretty well out there.
Yeah. Now they've got their flags as well, the warning flags, because we're accustomed to seeing. But everyone is just side by side. The Occupy protesters and the police, they're right next to each other, sitting peacefully. So far it's still very peaceful on this end, but the barricades have been cleared. There are no more barricades on either ends of Occupy Central at the moment. So on the central side, the barricades have been cleared, and also on the Admiralty end, the barricades have been cleared as well. So there are no more barricades on this end, and on the other side of the road, there are multiple police officers standing beside these barricades, getting ready to clear them out as well. So what's happening is the protesters are actually moving inwards. They're taking the umbrellas, the supplies, and moving everything towards the central area of Admiralty. So they're not giving up. They're not running away. What they're doing is they're retreating from the main barricades, while the police here are clearing all the barricades on the other side. Officers in blue right now are clearing all the red and white barricades. You can see 15, 20 of them in action right now, clearing everything very speedily. Police getting ready to move the other barricades, and Occupy protesters are clearing their area of essential supplies. They're taking away water, food, umbrellas. They're maybe just leaving behind empty boxes or cartons, but they are bringing all essential supplies with them, tents as well. So this is breaking right now. The Hong Kong government have said they are clearing the barricades. We don't know if they're going to clear the whole Occupy zone, but they are definitely moving the barricades, and it does look like they may be preparing to move in to clear the whole area as well. But that's just speculation right now. What we do know for a fact is that they are clearing the barricades on both ends.
Can you tell us what happened yesterday with your incident and what was going on at that time that caused that big reaction?
Well, that was just a small incident in Mongkok where it was 2 a.m. and police were actually asking for identity documents of protesters who were trying to reinforce the barricades, and I think they were just a bit on edge. As a result, they just started shoving and pushing students and other citizens, and it just got out of control. And in the process of it, they kind of took many cheap shots. They had their batons out, and it was dark, so you'd see a lot of police officers kicking the protesters and occasionally using their batons very subtly and then hiding it back in their pockets afterwards. That was last night. This is a lot bigger news than that. It looks like they are getting ready to clear. All the protesters, they have their masks on. They're clearing the area. Everyone's on high alert at the moment. They're even clearing the banner hanging from the highway.
Yeah, it looks like the Hong Kong government has finally just said, okay, enough's enough.
Well, yeah, it is Monday here, and everyone does want to get to work. And if you look at the time, it's 7:30 in the morning. It's not rush hour yet. Typically, the business hour here begins at 9 to 10 a.m. So when you look at the timing of this, it does seem like they do want to clear the streets before business begins officially here on Monday morning.
That would be my estimation as well.
Right. So we can either stay here and keep monitoring what happens, or we can actually head towards the center point and see what's happening on the other side of Central. What do you guys want to do? Should we stay here at this end of Admiralty, or should we actually get a whole view of what's happening?
Well, why don't you, well, it's up to you, but I would say why don't you go towards the center and see what's going on that way.
All right, so we're going to leave. This is one end of the Occupy zone. This is the very end of it where the barricades have been cleared and supplies are being moved towards the center. So we're going to follow some of these Occupy protesters towards the center point, see what's happening there, and also give you an update from the other side, which would be the end of Central. But before we leave, not only are uniformed officers here, you also see plainclothes officers lined up now. They have their helmets right on their side pockets, so they're being backed up and reinforced. Uniformed officers are being reinforced by plainclothes officers with helmets clearly on their side, so they are definitely expecting some kind of reaction from the crowd, or else they wouldn't have all this gear. They've got their heavy gloves, heavy-duty gloves, they've got their helmets on their side. So even the plainclothes so-called CID detectives have joined in to support the frontline uniformed police officers.
They haven't had their helmets out before unless they intended to actually physically remove people.
Yeah, we haven't seen them with their helmets before. You are absolutely correct there. They've normally just been in their plainclothes state, but currently they do have their equipment out. So I'm just going to get ready as well. I'm just going to bring some of my own equipment out from my bag. I brought some masks here, as well as goggles to protect myself in case it's necessary, so I'll just get those out. But apart from that, this is pretty much my media equipment. I only have goggles and some masks to protect myself. Some senior officers are coming by now. These are the ones in white. The two ones in white have actually asked a group of officers to retreat, or come towards, at least to move towards another area. So they're being redeployed. The uniformed officers are being redeployed to another area, having received instructions from some of their senior officers. I'm not too sure where they're headed, but they're moving away from this end of Admiralty.
I'm surprised they don't have any trucks there, or garbage trucks or anything there to take away the trash.
Right. So the tent's being cleared out as well, and as everything moves, we're going to also head towards the center point now and give you an update from there. And my microphone's just fallen off. Just give me a sec.
But you sure wouldn't want to drive through there with a car or anything now with all that garbage in the street.
This is TVB, local television's here as well now. They're moving towards the end where we were, but we're headed towards the central point now to see what is going on. So it doesn't seem like there are very many people actually in the tents or in the middle. People have all moved towards the end where police are gathered. If we take a look at the tents here, they're quite empty. There's nobody in here.
Yeah, I would, well, being this time of morning at 7:35 a.m., I would guess that most of them went home already because they were out for a long weekend and were probably tired, and a lot of them probably had to go back to work today themselves.
I've just asked if I can take an umbrella because I only have my goggles and my face mask. So I've just borrowed an umbrella as well here. So I'm going to pick up whatever supplies I can to defend myself and just be prepared in case police do take serious action to clear the streets. However, as of now, it does look rather calm. No force is being used, and everyone on both sides seems to be cooperating.
Well, I think your best bet is to just get out of the way if they do tell you to leave, because they aren't going to mess around. So compared to a few days ago, there are a lot more tents, because after government withdrew from talks, people have been sleeping out here, not just staying for a few hours for the rally. They've actually been staying overnight. There are whistles going on the other end, and people are running down towards the other side of Central. So we're just going to run down and take a look what's happening over there as well. It's very loud. People are shouting. He's on his bicycle blowing a whistle, which is apparently a warning for everyone. So whistles, everyone's whistling everywhere. I'm going to put my equipment on, so... Is it the protesters whistling?
I don't know, but I will get ready and put my gear on.
We don't know if that's the police loudspeaker or if that's the protesters. I'm thinking it's probably the police. Or you're going to have a hard time seeing with that on.
I'm good, I can see, but I'm just going to take off the mask so my voice isn't muffled. So I'm going to leave the goggles on, but I've taken off my mask so you guys can hear me properly.
Yeah, if they start throwing tear gas or something, just get the hell out of there. It's not worth...
So this is the center stage right now. This is the center stage. And a lot of people have gathered around the center stage, but we're not going to stay here. We're going to go to the other end of the front line, and we're going to see what's happening, which is where the whistles and screamings originated for. So we are going to head over to the other end of the front line to see what's happening over there. Everyone's very nervous. People are on edge. But on the bridge, before we head over to Central, it does seem calm here. These are the government offices on the right that's being blockaded. So you can see the big barricades. I think this is what police wants to get rid of, all the barricades leading towards the government offices. I believe today they want everything to go back to normal again.
I would estimate that's probably correct.
So we're currently walking on the highway, and once we get atop of this highway, which is normally filled with cars at this time of day, we'll reach the other side of Central, which is where apparently all the barricades have also been taken down on that side. I'm being joined by several other protesters on the other side of the road who are also walking towards the central area.
And were those whistles, were they coming from back where you just were, where the little group of people was in front of the government offices, or was that still from further down this, over the bridge here?
I believe it was actually protesters warning other protesters.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought, because I thought that one guy on the bicycle was one of the guys with a whistle.
People are all headed towards this side, not down towards Central, where we were planning to go, but they seem to be going towards this area. I'm not too sure why. We can actually, well, maybe ask. 點解啲人係去緊嗰邊嘅？警察嗰邊清咗啦，冇警察啦。嗰邊係咪清晒啊？嗰邊我哋未清晒。頭先清咗啦，係咪？仲喺度啊，大班人。So they've already cleared the end of this bridge, which is why the people are not going there. They're trying they're all headed towards this area now, where the police are attempting to clear.
Okay. Some local language skills come in handy.
Yes. But at the main center point, there's a loud announcement on the mic in Chinese. 而家大咪嗰度講緊咩啊？佢話紅十字會係啲鐵馬冇晒喎。哦，唔該。So they just announced over the microphone that I think they needed some supplies, some medical supplies, which they were... Barricades. Okay. They're asking for more barricades. Because all their barricades have been taken out. So thank you. Someone here has just translated the message for us. Over the loud microphone, they were asking for more barricades, as we see a couple young ladies here who are actually using the highway as a shield in case something goes on down there. But we are going to head down there to the front lines and see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, you can actually see pretty good from up here.
So the protest is getting loud cheers because he's saying these barricades are public property and we are the public. So we're at the front of this barricade, but there doesn't seem to be many police officers here. They're asking for the men to come to the front because the police are going to come from here to clear. So they're asking the men, not the women, the men to come and protect the front. So they are expecting police to arrive here at this spot shortly. And they're prepared.
Oh no, we lost your sound again, James. I think your mic came unplugged. Oh, we might have just lost you because you were under the bridge there again. We lost your sound, James. Oh, he's here in a minute. That happens every once in a while when he goes under a bridge or something due to the cell phone signal. And there he's back.
So, students are reinforcing these barricades with these plastic
Zip ties?
Zip ties, thank you. As they are preparing for police to come down and clear this area very, very soon.
This was kind of an impromptu broadcast, but we want to thank everybody for joining us.
So you can see here, the lady is actually calling for reinforcements. So she must be a student, and they're asking other students to come here right now to reinforce this area. Now,
and of course, the other story that was earlier this weekend was that one of the places had pulled their funding on student scholarship in Hong Kong. So that was going to have an impact because they had cited that the protests were illegal, and I don't remember what the other thing was, but basically they said that they weren't going to give any more student scholarships because of the legality of the student protests. And we lost your sound again, James. And on Friday, they had talks scheduled between the democracy camp and the chief executive, and they had backed out of the chief executive's office back Thursday, gave him about 24 hours notice talks, and that kind of sparked up the demonstrations over the weekend.
Jamie, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you again.
Okay, so the police, we're being told, are coming from here, which is why the men are standing in front of this end of the barricades. And they've asked for more student reinforcements to come to this area right now to try and stop the police. Well, let's see where they're coming from. Someone's pointing there in front, so they might be coming from here. And there they are. There they are. We see them right now. There are many, many officers lined up where they might start marching forwards to remove the barricades behind us here, which are directly behind me with the students. So the police are directly ahead now. I can see them. They're no more than 10 meters in front of me, and that is why there are a lot of students being called to that area. And if we look to the right, you can see more officers lined up with vehicles as well. Can you see they're a little far away, but they are there.
Oh, yep, we can see them down there below the bridge.
Right. So they're everywhere, on every street, and in formation.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to want to get in between them.
Well, there are a lot of press here right now. So with all the press presence, they may not move forwards. So this is the view of the officers. So this is what they would be seeing right now.
Yeah, you might want to get over on the sidewalk there, or at least off by the side by the railing.
Right, so next to them they have a baton, a shield, some of the plastic things that we reinforce barricades with to use as handcuffs. There may be pepper spray, we're not sure. But they also seem to have a helmet as well.
Yeah, they're getting ready to go. They're going to move that barricade, and the people, regardless of, they aren't going to be able to get enough protesters there to resist it.
These are the officers I was telling you who are below the bridge. They're also lined up in straight formation. And that is the central district of Hong Kong. That is actually central. We're standing at Admiralty, which is next to Central. But over the bridge here, that is the central district that police have barricaded in a line. Okay, so there's an announcement. What they have said is they are here to remove the barricades and just take back government property.
Government property, isn't that citizens' property?
And the lady actually here is not screaming in Cantonese. She's using Mandarin, which is the language used in mainland China. So I actually don't understand what she's saying. So she's not shouting in Cantonese, which is the native language here in Hong Kong.
So we don't know if she is...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yelling something against the police, actually.
But judging by her body language and her gestures, it looks like, you know, she is definitely not with the police here. So if we go down, we may have seen more student reinforcements arriving.
Yeah, I'm guessing now, too, it's 8 minutes until the top of the hour. That might be when they're going to just move.
So there are a lot of live reporters here as well. This gentleman's giving a live update to his bosses, I guess. And this looks like a coordinator, actually. What's happening? Have they cleared? There's a police motorcycle on that highway. So the notices over the loudspeaker phone are going on everywhere. So if you can see, police also have their camera here as well. So police are also recording the incident from their point of view. You can see right there, they do have a video camera recording what's happening. So both sides, the press, the officers, everyone will have footage of what's going on. So local press as well. So local media, police officers, everyone seems like they're filming. Citizens too.
Well, yeah, there's definitely no shortage of cameras nowadays.
So right behind them we see the guys in blue. They are the barricade cleaners. So they've been removing many of the barricades that we saw on the other end of Admiralty as well. The people behind, do you see them? So they've been charged with removing barricades, and they've been very efficient at doing so as well. They've been removing them and clearing them in no time, the people in the blue.
Those guys that are walking down the ramp there?
Correct.
Okay. I can't tell what color they're wearing from here. Now, the loudspeaker that's going on, is that police on the loudspeaker?
I believe it is, yes. I do believe it's one of their announcements from another site. Come on. If you look at their face, especially the ones in the glasses, they look anxious, right? They don't look aggressive right now. Not all their arms are crossed. They do look more anxious, nervous than aggressive.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks now, and they've got to be, tired as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's tired. So the front line seems to be mostly press, and it's almost like the students know the press is a better defense wall than they are, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like the first line of defense is actually to use the press, and the students themselves are at the actual barricades. Should we move to another side, towards the loudspeakers, or should we stay here?
I would get on the other side of or I don't know. I guess go where you think is the best and the safest.
So apparently, the other location they're clearing is also behind where these officers are. So even if we wanted to go to where they're clearing right now, we can't. They're blockaded this area.
You might be better off, though, being on the other side onto the sidewalk and not on the street.
Yeah, that might be safer.
Do they have that guardrail? Any place where you can get through? 8 a.m. now.
Okay.
I don't speak Cantonese, so I'm just trying to find out.
而家清緊邊路嚟㗎？
傾緊邊度？
係啊，
傾緊度都傾緊㗎喎。
嗰度都清緊啊？
冇啊，佢其實清呢度清咗，
係。
跟住嗰度未清，周圍都清緊㗎。樓下就仲有一個嘅。
係樓下呢度。
係啊，但係冇㗎，其實冇人講究竟清邊度㗎，而家好亂㗎。
All right, thank you. So we've just got an update from another press member here that they're clearing every barricade and that there might be one below us, directly below us as well. And they've just cleared this one here. So let's take a look at what the barricade directly below us might be that they're attempting to clear right now. There it is. There it is.
Okay.
We do see there is another barricade right next to us, that the loud microphone. There it is. So we're just going to head down there. So there are the police officers on one side. These are the officers that they are trying to stop to remove this barricade point here in Admiralty. And on the freeway above, these officers will then look to clear the barricades in front over there. So we're actually at an intersection between two clearing points at the moment, but so far nothing's happened. But it is 8 a.m. and we're approaching the beginning of the business day, 9 a.m. here. So we do anticipate something might happen within the next hour.
Well, it certainly looks like they're getting ready to do something, and all they need is some little wire snippers to cut those twists or those zip ties and move those barricades out of the way. It won't take much to move them, and there's certainly not enough people there to put up much of a resistance. And anybody that tries to put up a resistance now is going to end up just getting themselves hurt unneededly.
He says the whole world is watching you right now. The press is watching, the world is watching. They hope that they don't use force or excess aggression.
Did he say hopes they don't use excess aggression?
Right, so basically, you know, the world's watching, please don't use tear gas, I guess, is, they don't want them to use too much force.
It's like a little force would be okay with them, though? It's like, just break my legs a little bit.
I mean, so you see that one guy, he's got his face wrapped. He has an umbrella in his hand. He's got what looks like one of those loud sound horns on his left, next to his left pocket. Right? Now it could be quite useful. If he rang one of those when the officers are in front of him, their ears would hurt, right?
Yeah.
It's a loud horn. So that's one of his, I guess, defenses against the police he's prepared on the front lines. And we are going to head down to the front lines.
Well, noises definitely can be used as a weapon.
I just fell. I'm good, thank you. Thanks.
You're just clumsy, aren't you, James?
Trying to get you guys the best angle. So he is here on the front lines, ready to stop the police from removing these barricades here in Hong Kong. And that's the gentleman I mentioned with the loud horn.
One of the alleyways where you have to run
Yeah, those canned air too. Those canned air sirens can be quite painful to the ears too.
He's a public announcement for the Hong Kong police. This gentleman here. Public service announcement for the Hong Kong police. So this gentleman in the blue here is doing the speaking. They've run out of batteries, so they're just going to switch off batteries first. The number of protesters to press on the front line seems to be 1-to-1 almost. So for every protester, there's actually a member of the press here. So the police will be clearing just as much media members as they'll be clearing protesters. Right? So there's 2 journalists on the front line and 2 protesters on the front lines.
Yeah, and it's with everybody having cameras nowadays, it's pretty hard to distinguish who's who.
Right. There's also a very young student here. She looks like a uniformed, almost junior student, you know, not even middle school, like a primary school student on the front lines. A young girl, maybe no more than 12, 13 years old, has joined the front lines here. It looks like it might even be her father, or an older brother at least. So you can see this young lady here is very, very brave to stand here to defend her fellow students on the front lines. Protesters are all on their phones. All of them. They must be talking to other fellow protesters around, wondering what's going on. So this is the supply station, or what's left of it. It looks like most things have been cleared out. As what few remaining students stand here on the front lines, ready to prepare to defend these barricades. These reinforcements were just handed out by this gentleman on the bike. The same gentleman who was whistling the warning sign before, she's given more of these plastic reinforcements. Dear Hong Kong police, we are a bunch of peaceful students here and citizens. We just want to, all we want to do is speak with the Hong Kong government, have some dialogue.
我哋金鐘道嘅市民，我哋金鐘道嘅守護者，係希望同政府係去商討金鐘道同埋公民廣場嘅開放問題。但係喺我哋不出善意、不足10小時，香港政府就派香港警察去強行偵察鐵馬，強行攻擊保護學生嘅防線。在場嘅都係一班手無寸鐵嘅學生同埋市民，我哋冇任何意欲係去佔領更加多嘅地方，我哋亦都冇任何意欲係攻破警方嘅防線，我哋只不過係一班市民係希望留守金鐘道，保護下角道裏面集會嘅所有市民同埋學生。所以喺度呼籲所有香港警察，請停止再繼續進攻集會嘅防線。我哋係喺度和平嘅集會，喺度呼籲所有香港警察，不要再進攻，不要再進攻我哋原有嘅防線。我哋市民已經係顯示出最大嘅善意去開放啦。喺動畫未開始之前，警察就有如此嘅行動係可恥，係非常可恥。全世界、全香港都喺度望住你哋嘅所作所為。當市民釋出最大嘅善意，而警方係配合一個專權嘅政府，係去出爾反爾，佢絕對話呢個非常可恥。所以喺度，所有嘅學生係會繼續堅守，希望所有嘅警方係出嚟停止繼續係去攻佔，
police to stop
停止繼續係去
all their activities of removing barricades. All they want is to open dialogue. They want this to end peacefully. They just want to talk is the message. So please stop coming forward, stop removing the barricades, just please stop all your activities right now. You know, they don't want anything to happen. They just want to talk with the government.
And I'm sure that will fall on deaf ears.
Very sure of that as well.
警方協助政府，警方協助政府係去強行清場，可恥。
Thank you.
Well, I'm curious. I don't know what the police are actually waiting for.
They might have a set time. I mean, strategically, with someone with some experience in military tactics, what do you think is going on?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is if they're waiting for some supplies or something to come, or another shift to come on.
So we're going to move. Actually, we can't. It's barricaded everywhere. I found an entry point here. Let's maybe move a little closer. So they seem to be getting a lot of messages across with these bicycle people. So he's almost like a scout.
Yeah, he's getting around quite a bit.
Yeah, we've already seen these messengers on bicycles go back and forward, sending signs through whistles and sending like mini supplies back and forwards on their bikes. So this is the view from the other side of the barricade. And upstairs you see there's some activity. Police are setting up a barricade of their own, actually. So where we were up there just a few minutes ago, it looks like the police have barricaded themselves behind the press and the students. So that is purposefully set up. So while the students there are worried the police are going to charge them, the police themselves have actually set up a barricade in front of them up there, right now as we speak, live.
Wasn't expecting that move.
Yeah, I don't understand that move as well. If they're looking to clear, you know, the barricades just at the end of the highway, why are they barricading themselves in?
It's some very peculiar strategies on both sides.
Yeah, well, we are witnessing the strategies of both the police and the students of how they mobilize during this tense situation here Monday morning in Hong Kong.
But lack of sleep will do that to people. It does affect your judgment.
There's a businessman just walking in the street like nothing's happening, you know, in his suit, getting ready to go to work, you know, it's another Monday morning. You know? So this is what the this is who the protesters at the other end of the barricade are sending their messages to. It's to these police officers here. So next time they speak on the loud microphone, we can actually listen and hear whether we can actually hear their messages come through this end or not. So I've been photographed here by this gentleman, but right behind me is where all the officers are currently lined up in formation. So the ones in the blue are the regular police uniformed officers, and so that they've asked me not to come even towards them. So I'm just going to step back. But the blue uniformed officers are the regular street police officers, and the white ones standing behind them, the ones in white are the more senior officers who are the ones in charge at the moment here on the scene. So I'm not allowed to pass through, and they also have their flags that we've seen. They have the 5 different levels of flags, the 5 different colors, so they're also ready and prepared with those as well. So we're just going to take a look at what the officers are looking at. So from here, there's still quite some distance to the barricade. It's about I'd say about a 30-meter gap between where I'm standing, where the officers are behind me. So the officers are standing in formation behind me here, and the protesters are lined up directly in front. So as you can see, this is the view from behind. That's what they're seeing in front.
Yeah, it's quite a distance down there. And here comes that guy on the bicycle again.
Right, actually, I don't believe he's a protester. He's asked if he can go through. And yeah, he's just trying to get to Central, so they've just let him through. He's asked if he can go to Central, and they've said yes. So they've just let someone on a bike through this human barricade.
Yeah. I gotta go.
So things are happening all around, not just at this scene, but you see press going from area to area. Down here, there's a large group of officers. Can we get the screen capture out? Can you capture some of these images as they come down?
Yeah, we can see them coming down here now.
That were situated at the top of that highway in Admiralty, and they barricaded the front of them, and they're moving down right now as we speak.
Maybe that's what they were waiting for them to come down before they move on this lower position.
Which area they deploy this unit into. We'll follow them and see exactly where they're being deployed right now. The ones in blue here look like almost special forces, like SWAT. So as we follow the police, they've just shaken hands with what looks like a SWAT team with the white commander. And they're headed towards the Central District, the main district in Central. So this is the main financial district here in Hong Kong, as we follow this unit from the highway on Admiralty towards Central Hong Kong. And the time now is 8:20 a.m. It's Monday morning, as there's even a group of people doing, I believe, Tai Chi here in the park. This is a morning exercise.
Sort of looks like.
They seem rather surprised that there's a big troop of police forces almost just interrupting their morning exercise.
Yeah, it's a rather large group of police. It's about, what would you say, 60 people? 60 police?
That would be a good estimate. I think there's about 60 to 80 officers in this one patrol unit. But they're all geared up, as well as with the flags as well. So this isn't how they normally appear, right? This is not what police officers typically wear to work. They wouldn't have the shield, they wouldn't have a helmet. They don't have their guns. They're unarmed because it is no, they do have their guns actually, but they don't always have their arms in a protest situation because it's very easy for protesters to actually take away their sidearms. So not everyone is armed, I believe, but their gear and their uniform, they've definitely stepped it up today, as I believe that they're ready they are anticipating some kind of action or force to be used, or else they wouldn't be prepared in riot gear.
Yeah, they got their full riot loadout on.
Right. And these officers here are the plainclothes CID detectives, and they also have their helmets and other equipment here as well. And now I've been stopped. I can no longer proceed here on Jackson Road in Central. They're going behind this barricade of CID officers. They've just used their hands and asked me to not go by, as you can see. They've asked me to not pass this area as the uniformed officers head down the end of the street on Jackson Road in Central. I'm now surrounded by about 5 officers here. Good morning. You're live here, streaming. I'm just trying to see where they're pass.
No, you can't pass.
So even though this is a public street, I can't pass it.
Ordinary, okay?
Okay.
This is ordinary.
So this invisible line here is the police cordon. This invisible line is a police.
Physical officer present here.
Okay.
Okay.
So this invisible line here is a police cordon.
No such thing called invisible
Then
line.
what is cordoning off this area on Jackson Street?
You see these 2 officers. They are cordoning off this whole area. Okay.
Okay. So if I were to walk into this area, that would be okay. If I were to walk through the park, so I can walk into the park, but not directly here on Jackson Road. So I'm gonna head through the central point of the park where they're not barricading, through their so-called invisible line of human officers. I'm just going to go around and see from the other end. But here you see there are many police vans and trucks. They have their windows closed. So we don't know if they're empty or there are people inside, but their engines are running. There's a driver inside. There's at least a driver inside these vehicles. Can you see any troops as well?
I can't see in through those windows. They got them. I think they have them specifically made so you can't see if there's people in there.
So you can see these other officers have been moved down here. So that big unit of patrol officers have moved towards the main district of Central from the highway on Admiralty. As a crowd of the general public gathers to watch and see as they're all curious to what's going to happen next here in Hong Kong. So this is, we've had to take the long way around because they wouldn't let me through that road. They basically deployed that one unit from the highway of Admiralty to this main street in Central District. This is basically one end of the protest zone, because if you look at the other end, those are the students, right? So there's no way for me to actually cut across, because the police are barricading the both sides to where the students are standing on the other end. So if I were to access that area, we'd have to go back up the freeway at Admiralty and then around the highway through on Admiralty to get to this area. So maybe we'll try that and try and get the point of.
Can you see what are they doing here? Just sitting down, resting?
No, they're not in formation. These officers, they seem very relaxed. They're having breakfast almost. They seem very relaxed. But I've been told there might be a shortcut to where we can reach the protesters. So I'm just going to cut through in front of them. Thank you. And what's going on the end of the protest? So the officers here are just actually having breakfast, and this guy just stood up as soon as I got by him. They're a bit champy as usual, but they're just enjoying some breakfast, and only one formation of troops are lined up.
And what is that area in between there? Is that a government building?
Right in front of me is Central District, and this is...
No, behind you.
Behind me, that's the barricade. I believe that's what the police officers want to clear. In front of us here,
okay.
A large barricade, maybe about 5-6 rows deep, with a lot of plastic tubings around the front. So I believe this is the barricade they would like to clear next, as the officers are being mobilized now towards this side area. So no, they're going around the back. So we're going to just follow them here through the back. Actually, we were headed this way to go towards the other corner of the protest to take a look exactly what's going on here at 8:30 morning. So I believe we're going to go through this end here, but the officers are going through the other side now. Oh no, they're coming towards where I was planning on going. So I'm planning on going here. No, they're being moved to the other side now. So they're being moved across and redeployed. I'm just keeping my distance from them. But next to where these officers are going, there's a police vehicle. So it seems like this is more like a meeting point for whatever's happening next. They've decided to set up here as a meeting point.
Yeah, it's like well, it's kind of around the corner, so it's out of sight of the actual barricades that they want to clear. So they're out of sight of the protesters.
Right.
So it may be a strategy to, once they come at them, they can kind of converge at them, and it's a tactic where they would normally use to just overwhelm them with a sheer amount of force. But
he's a plainclothes officer, but nothing identifies him as police. He's not wearing a vest. He's in total plainclothes, but we know he's an officer by the way he's interacting with his colleagues. But there's no way of identifying him as police. Let's follow this guy. He might be one of those people trying to blend in almost as a spy, as a civilian. Right, and it looks like they are using some people in total civilian gear to mingle and get close to the protesters without causing alarm.
Yeah, I would say that they would most likely do that. But he obviously he looked older than a student, though. I mean, I don't think he would have been confused for a student.
Right. So we've made it here to the side where the students and the protesters are. This is what the police are wanting to remove. We were still able to access it via the side street. So I actually thought the police were coming in, towards the side to try and start to remove the barricades, but it appears they haven't done that yet. But if they were to remove the barricades, I don't think it would be a very efficient strategy to come head on, right? It would look like they would storm in through the side, which is why there might be a deployment going on to the right where we saw them, right? Because they could just easily come out of here, where I came from, and kind of surprise everyone through the back.
Yeah. And that might be what they're going to do.
Right.
And then they can have the people in the front start walking towards the barricades, and the police come out from the side and kind of nab up the people.
好多50個警察係側邊嚟㗎，側邊我覺得佢哋係側邊嚟，因為呢度咧冇封咗，而家有50個差人唔喺呢度，大部分都去咗嗰度㗎。諗住同你一睇到啦，你一出去咧會見到50個警察喺呢度，因為呢度冇人，佢哋知呢度好多，而家喐咗好多去嗰邊㗎啦，佢可以轉啲學生。So I just informed the situation to the students here. He's given me the power, he's given me that. Because I just informed him of the police situation, how there's 50 of them towards the side, and he's giving the message now to the other students. And it looks like they are checking out the area now after I gave them the tip. Yeah, see? He's just tapped another student saying, you can see the guy in the pink who I told. He's now sending the message now to other students, letting them know, and that they are checking out the police on the site on the right, where we advised them. There's 50 officers. So they're moving towards there now and scoping the cops out. So here's a businessman in his suit and briefcase, standing in the front line with the students. I guess he's on his way to work.
Yeah, I think he was probably on his way to work, and was like, oh, it looks like something exciting is going to happen. I'm going to stay and check it out.
Yeah. So you see that they're all kind of on this end of the barricade on the left. There's a large cluster of students in this. There's a double barricade almost. You see here, this is the second cluster of barricade, and there's a large group of students stood in front of the first cluster of barricade. But the one here on the right's been left empty for those officers to actually come by the side to take this area if they so wished. So I believe after the guys come back, the students come back from scoping out the police, they will probably reinforce this area as well with students.
Maybe. But now we're coming up, it's 8:35 in Hong Kong now, so we're coming up on, the start of the business day, and I would have thought that they would have wanted to have moved by now so they could have had this stuff back.
Right. So it's you're right, it's 8:34 a.m. here, Monday morning. and the main barricades on the road have still not been cleared. But we're on the opposite end now. Earlier we were in the Wan Chai end, and we saw how those were being cleared away. But on the central side of the barricades, they still have not been cleared, and this road is closed. The road is closed. There are officers on the main street, on the side, but so far, nothing's happened yet, as people anxiously watch to see what are the police next moves.
Those are a little different riot shields than I've ever seen, too. They're kind of a round, clear disc.
Yeah, it's a round, clear, almost a plastic. It looks like a plastic type of a material, as someone just wants to pass through here to make his deliveries. But you're right, it looks like a plastic shield, clear plastic shield, and behind it they grip it with the words police in English and in Chinese, and it looks like it might be their number or identity, a number at the end. This one says MD0700. So, yeah, that's the design of the basic design of the shield here.
They look like they would be a lot easier to hold and stuff, and probably lighter than like the American style ones, but not as good a coverage or as big a coverage. But maybe they have different riot gear for different levels of what they're planning on doing too. So they might have the real heavy-duty gear, too, if they were really planning on a heavy-duty riot or something.
So the officers on the right here, it looks like they're almost taking a break. Might be a shift change or just a short break. They're all sat across. So there's the big cluster we saw earlier. It just looks like they've been given a quick break. So there they are, all 50 of them just sitting down having breakfast. So it might not be a quick deployment that we're thinking, right? It might not be a 9 o'clock, let's get rid of everyone before the morning workday. This might be a wait-and-see situation where they target a time where it appears best for them.
Yeah, that very well could be. It's very hard to predict what they're going to do. It's been so erratic so far that there's just really guessing it is hard to do.
Right. Well, I've just literally jumped out of bed like it's 6 a.m. to do this. So, I'm just going to try and get a drink here. Really thirsty right now. Hey, 有咩？可樂嗰啲有冇啊？
有奶茶、咖啡、檸茶、檸水啊。
一個可樂啊，唔該。
一杯可樂。係。要大杯定細杯？
大杯啊，唔該。
點啦？
So getting a drink real quick here before I go back out. What's your assessment of the situation? Looking from you know, just from your view, what do you see?
Well, with them all, you know, geared out like that, it sure looks like they plan on doing something. But you know, we've seen them geared out before, and they haven't done anything. So
we've never seen information.
It could be
as well.
they could be just saying, taking the advantage of the time to train and get out there and say, hey, we got these streets. Let's go out and get our act together in training. And, you know, we don't have much experience in this area. Apparently we need it. So that could be what they're doing. They got all this gear and stuff. Let's wear it and take it out, and let's march around in formations, and you know, and we have the streets are nobody's using these streets right now except for a small amount of protesters, and we'll just go out and march around and and they'll wonder what the hell's going on, and all we'll be doing is just training.
Yep. So do you stay at the end, or should we go back towards the middle, the freeway area, or the other end of the protest? Or do you want to ask around? Should we ask the audience who's watching live what they'd like to see? Do they want us to stay here in Central, go back towards the middle area in Admiralty?
Well, let's check. I was just checking what Twitter was saying here, and yeah, I don't know if you take a look again, but I don't think they're going to do anything immediate.
Okay, then let's walk around. I've got my drink. So then let's walk towards the middle area again. We'll join, from the protesters' point of view, we'll go back into the main protest and head towards the middle bridge they were trying to defend. Let's see if there's an update over there. The police have set up their microphone here. Can you see that megaphone that they're setting up?
Okay.
So they might be preparing a message for everyone.
Maybe they're going to give them an ultimatum, tell them they got so many minutes to leave or something.
Right, so they're not just joined by Chinese students or local students, they're joined by international students here as well, as you can see on the front line. And clearly he doesn't look like he's Chinese. He might be English American, but he's joined, you know, the local students here on the front lines to support them. So we've seen children, foreign people. I mean, there's just a big diversity of people here in the crowd helping to support the students at these barricades on the very front lines. We've really seen a big diverse range of people. Let's just jump over the barricade here. The police setting up this little umbrella. Oh, sorry, umbrella. Speaker. So I'm just gonna. There's the message.
Now, is that the police there?
No, he looks like he's a supporter. He's a Occupy Central protester saying that without more people, police will clear the area. So I believe he's just asking for more people to come by and join them here in the front, almost in a human chain before the police actually get to the barricades.
Oh, okay.
Protesters here on the very front lines have formed a human chain, and they've asked for more support here on the front lines.
I guess I don't know what they think they're going to achieve by staying there for right now.
Right, no, then that's the police speaker in front of us here. So he's
Okay.
got a lanyard. So do you know what's happening at the other protest areas? Can you get an update for us? Do you know what's happening in Mongkok over at Nathan Road? Are they clearing on Kowloon as we speak as well? So, in front of the actual human barricade, there's a barricade of press. Right? So once again, we've seen every side now that it's no longer 6 a.m., 7 a.m. when they began to remove some barricades where there were no press and there weren't that many people. Now, in front of every major barricade, there's a group of students and a line of press now. So their job's just gotten a lot harder, right? If anything, they might have wanted to start not at 7, but maybe at 5 a.m. to clear these barricades. Now it's the light of day. Their jobs become that much harder with a line of press and a row of students sitting in front to clear. The world is now watching, so to speak. The very front line, as we've seen in multiple spots now, the very front line is press first, and then students second.
Well, you can see that the police greatly outnumber the protesters.
Absolutely. That number of the protesters easily 10 to 1.
And there's just, I mean, the protesters, no matter how good they're sitting there, they'd be best off just to go home right now. And and save themselves the injury.
What looks like the
in my view. So all they're going to accomplish for themselves now is get themselves injured and thrown in jail.
So the guys are back from their little breakfast break. This is a unit that was on the side having breakfast, sitting down. They have now been redeployed. So I believe they're headed back up towards the bridge, actually, where they were prior to coming down here for their little breakfast break. So this guy doesn't actually say police, it says police negotiator on his shirt. So he's different. The other badges only say police, but the guy holding the red phone with the glasses, or the duct glasses, his badge says police negotiator. The lady...
I bet you is in there to negotiate with the police, though.
Of him says media liaison, right? So the officer in the pink says media liaison, and the gentleman she is speaking with is the police negotiator. So they actually have different identifications on their vests to distinguish their different roles.
It's funny that they would, or the, the term negotiator and stuff, when they said that the chief executive refused to negotiate, but they would use police negotiators.
So it looks like there's a secondary unit now, and it looks like as that other unit was leaving that rest spot, another unit's being deployed to that rest spot. They are taking turns to take a break over here. So it could be a hi.
Reporter?
Yeah, we're streaming live. So someone's asked me here if I'm reporting, and I've said we are streaming live right now. So yes, would you like to ask me a question?
Yeah, if you are a media, can you show me your identity card of the...
I left it at home. It was just 6 a.m. I just rushed out. But we're streaming live right now. You can see on WCN. On
okay.
Would you like to watch? You can watch your...
No,
you're on live.
It's okay, it's okay. It's okay, I trust you. It's okay, no problem. Okay.
Am I not allowed to stand here? Do I have to clear from this area?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Just removed it. There's some...
Actually, could you tell us what's going on right now? I've heard the notice to clear the barricades this morning.
Here, the barricade that is fit to other person, right? Other protectors, okay? But right there, we don't remove it there, okay?
Okay, so...
Just stay.
Okay, so what we're being told here is there will be no escalation of the protest. There's not going to be a confrontation, it looks like, because they will not be looking to clear these main barricades, is the update I'm getting from the officer. So I think the tensions don't have to rise. It sounds like things are going to remain calm here, at least for the next day or so in Hong Kong. So that was a quick update we got from one of the negotiating officers. I guess he didn't want me to stand in the middle, so he kind of gave me a nice little press update to get rid of me. But that was really kind of because I was actually right there, right in the middle. So he didn't like that, so he actually came over. He was kind, he saw we were live. So he was very kind, gave us an update of the situation, and according to him, who is a Hong Kong police officer, so we've got some breaking news. They're saying they will not clear these barricades. That one officer has told us they are not looking to clear these barricades today. Whether that information is true or whether it's false information he wants out there just for people to feel at ease, we'll let everyone decide on their own accord. But he has told us here on WCN that they're not looking to clear these barricades here today.
The barricades look a lot more daunting from this side than they do from the other side.
Right. It's because they're not just... If you look at the design of the barricades, they're not just on the floor, they've been placed strategically on top as well and tied down with different objects putting weight onto it. So it's not going to be an easy process to clear as well. It's not like they can just come in and start pulling off barricades. They're going to have to start cutting and removing, and it's going to be a job that takes quite a bit of manpower to do. So even if they were to try and clear this area, it won't happen fast. It would be a long encounter between the protesters and the police.
Yeah, well, and then the wall of umbrellas there too makes it so you can't see the other side, which also makes it kind of makes the wall look more solid.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to head back to the other side of the protest, because we've been told by police here that nothing will happen here. And I might lean towards believing him, only because this is the middle of Central, and this is very, very public. And if anything, they'll be clearing the side barricades and not this main barricade. So let's get an update from the rest of Hong Kong. As before we leave, we see the media negotiator and the media representative and the police negotiator here. So there might be an update right now. So let's listen in.
各位在場嘅人士，正如我哋一路所講，警方由今朝到而家都只係清除馬路上面嘅障礙物，同埋收回政府嘅財物。請大家留喺原來嘅地方。警方清除障礙物嘅行動即將完。請大家稍安毋躁，多謝合作。
Could you repeat that in English, please?
各位在場嘅人士，正如我哋今朝一路所講，警方由今朝到而家都只係清理道路上面嘅障礙物，同埋收回政府嘅財物。政府清除障礙物嘅行動即將完結㗎，請大家留返喺原來嘅位置，稍安毋躁，多謝合作。
My Cantonese isn't very good, but I believe they said their activities are finished for the day.
And they are only going to collect the properties of the government.
Okay, thank you.
They're not going to clear up here.
So they're not going to clear the area, and they're just going to take back government property, and their activities for the day have finished. Is the update that the police media representative has given over the loud microphone.
In response for the protesters, they are saying that they want to take back the rights of government. The rights of government.
Okay. And in return, the protesters are now saying back that they want to take back their rights from the government. So I guess the right to vote and other issues.
如果係要清六㗎，佢又要清咗我哋先。希望有多啲市民出嚟幫我哋做呢個行動。
Okay, what was that now, James? They wanted to take back the rights of government?
I'm going to try and get a better translation here. Can you tell me what the gentleman was saying in Cantonese? Yes. What was he actually saying? 可唔可以翻譯啱啱呢個人講咗啲廣東話？英文解釋俾我。The idea.
They want some guys to extend, let's say in terms of the block, so that they're supposed to protect the block from police.
Okay, but what was the thing about the right from the government they were saying before?
I'm not sure of that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. But the second message was just to bring
只不過係佢想清除道路上面嘅障礙物，同埋收翻政府嘅財物，並唔
So
係
she's repeating the same message again and
Okay.
telling them to go home. So now she's just repeated the same message 3 times.
Well, she has a lovely voice.
Her voice.
Reminded me of the airport announcement to the white loading is for, or the white zone is for loading and unloading only.
You're right. They picked a very, nice-looking, soft-spoken lady to be the media PR person for the police. So it looks like people are packing up. Some of the local media is just wrapping up their coverage here because I think they believe nothing's going to happen as well. Now that they've made that announcement, it does seem like a sincere announcement that they're wrapping things up. It's not just one officer telling me privately. They've actually publicly announced it now that their activities for the day is over. So I don't believe they'll try and break that trust with the public. I do believe they will now keep their words, and this area is safe for now, at least for today. And they were just looking to clear other spots. It'll be interesting to see now then if more people come out after work to reinforce the areas that was taken back, right? So it's interesting to see what the reaction will be from the protesters and the students tonight. But the cameras now have been turned away from the police officers, and all the cameras now are focused on the protesters, as you can see now. The police no longer have the eyes of the people. Everyone's now turned their cameras onto the students to see what's next.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty smart move on the police department to make that public announcement.
So do you think it's a tactic or?
Say again?
It was a deliberate tactic?
Well, it's a tactic, but I do think it's probably sincere. But you can see, like you said, I mean, the woman that made the announcement, I mean, their PR person is an attractive young woman with a very pleasant voice. They have a very different demeanor, and she wouldn't be the one up there hollering orders if they were trying to get them to clear out.
Even the gentleman with the bald head over there who spoke to me was very polite. So I think this group is definitely different than the street officers that you see.
Yeah. So, these people are there for public relations and to make the police department look good.
Right. So now I'm just gonna go back to the other side of the barricade here, just to see what's kind of going on in the rest of Central, not just on this end. So we'll take a look now around the center spot, over the bridge, to see the rest of the site and see what's happening around Central right now. Time is now past 9 a.m., so we had anticipated they might clear everything by 9 a.m. for the business day, but they have not done that. They've now announced they will not do any more clearing and that they're done for the day. So we'll just kind of review the whole site and see exactly what's going on and how protesters are now, picking themselves back up.
Yeah, well, I think we can probably wrap up the broadcast. It doesn't look like anything's going to happen now. I think we were expecting a little bit more to happen, maybe the police to get violent with protesters, but again, that didn't happen, and which was fortunate. And you know, it's going to be probably starting to get more back to business as usual in Hong Kong, and I think that the protests are probably going to start dying down more and more.
So you can see the body language of the protesters. They do look quite defeated right now. A lot of them are lying down. You know, there's just not a very positive mood amongst the protesters right now.
Yeah.
They're kind of re-picking up, almost picking up the pieces, so to speak.
And, you know, I'm sure a lot of these people are just sheer exhausted. If a lot of these people that were really dedicated to this protest have probably been there the entire 2 weeks.
Right. And here's an umbrella we see made from water bottles. One of the more creative umbrellas we've seen here in Hong Kong. It is very interesting to get a live day broadcast, isn't it? The people that we see in the atmosphere is very different to the night broadcasts.
Yeah, and you know, it's like a ghost town.
Actually use these empty roads to get to work. People in suits, professional people, are actually using roads that were used by cars. They're almost using it as a footbridge to get to work here. We see many people do that.
Yeah.
Suits and ties, just instead of cars.
Well, why don't we wrap this broadcast up, James, and we will catch up maybe later tonight or later today.
Okay, actually, I'll continue on my own. I just want to show the whole situation here before wrapping up. I'd like to show the middle and the very other end to see what's going on.
Okay, well, if you want to keep going with the broadcast, we'll let it just turn it over to you then, if you want to keep on going, and then people can stay with you if they would like.
All right, sounds great. So I'll continue the stream here on my own, just to give everyone an update of all the spots here in Occupy Central. So we're just headed away from one site where police have told us there's going to be no more action and that they are just leaving the spot. So we began from one end of Central, and now we're just going to take it towards the middle in Admiralty and towards the end over in Wan Chai, to give you a whole picture, and then we'll call it a day and give you probably an update later tonight.
Okay, James. Send me a tweet or something when you get done.
Okay. Bye, Jamie.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Alright, so we're just going to continue on now. We are on the highway that divides Admiralty and Central. So this district right here is Central, and we're just going to go up the highway now towards Admiralty to see what's happening over there. On the way up on this highway, though, we can see there's many messages of support from many different countries: Irish, Gaelic, English, Malaysia, Mongolia, Croatia, Sweden. So as you can see there are many countries and nationalities represented supporting the students here in Hong Kong in their fight for democracy. This one's in Korean, actually, in my native tongue. It says, 홍콩이 민주주의가 될 수 있도록 되어주세요. So they hope Hong Kong achieves true democracy, which seems to be the message in many different languages. So the freeway down there, that was blocked by students earlier who were afraid police would clear those barricades. We can see from a distance now that those barricades are still up and police have not cleared that area. It's very empty. There are no protesters on the main highway, which are normally filled with people, but it's Monday morning here, and it's deserted right now. Empty supply stations, empty tents. The only people on the highway seems to be people going to and from work. So we're just going to veer up to the side now and take a look at the situation of the two barricades, one on the freeway and one on the main street, to see if there are any protesters left, or just to assess the situation. So we're walking down the highway normally where cars would be going, but it's all empty now, and people walk the freeway. So it's 9:11 a.m. here now, Monday morning in Hong Kong, and you can see on the footbridge many people are just crossing to go to work, going by their daily lives. So the students have also left this area. There was a big group of students earlier this morning forming a human barricade in front of these barricades, but they've left as well. So I don't know where they are. They might be in the middle. So we're just going to take a U-turn and head back towards the middle spot in the main area. But they did bring a lot of umbrellas and supplies. They brought masks, umbrellas, and goggles and water to the front lines to support in case there was a police attack. They tried to remove this area by force, but that did not happen, and that has not happened. It doesn't look like it will happen today, at least. And down there we can see the barricades have also not been removed, and there are also not very many protesters present. So let's go towards the center point now, which is where everyone might be. So earlier we were up on that highway where we walked down from, but now we're taking the streets and we're just going to join at the bottom of this highway where the street and the highway intersect. So these barricades have also not been cleared, but along the streets we can see a lot of yellow ribbons have been tied by the student protesters. As we approach the Admiralty Democracy Square, which is the main protest area in front of us, it looks like the majority of students have regrouped in the center spot. So as the highway and the road converges, you can see the barricade here, but the side is open for people to pass by. So we're just going to pass through. So we are now approaching the main Occupy Central area. This is the center point where it looks like everyone has come towards. Everything's calm here. Before, when we were at this area about an hour ago, there were whistles, people were panicky, but looks like after the police announcement that they finished their activities for the day, the mood here seems very calm again and everything's kind of returned to normal. So we're just going to give you a little tour of the main Occupy area, in case this is the first time you're joining us. This is the infamous shower in the middle of the highway, and if we look inside, it's just inside the Occupy shower, there are soaps, shampoos, toothbrushes, buckets of water that then drain through the pipe. So this is how so the students have been showering and keeping clean at this Occupy shower tent. That's the famous Batman sign. Everyone can be Batman. And this is a recently set up study area for students to do their homework. Initially, it was just this middle ground where students were working on desks which were set up, but since then it's really grown into a full study zone with chairs, tables, mats, and people are just out here doing their work, doing their homework in support of their students. So we see a sign that says welcome to use, where anyone is welcome to come work or study in this study zone. As we continue on from the study area, this is the main stage. The banners are still here. However, some of the banners on the highways have been taken down or cleared by police this morning, but the ones at the main protest area are still hanging high. So it looks like everyone's just getting some rest after the commotion from this morning. We're now approaching the famous post-it wall, which is full of messages from around the world. So you can see tens of thousands of individual post-it messages have been posted across this wall, also dubbed the Lenin Wall of Hong Kong. The tens of thousands of messages of support have been hung all around both ends of these stairs, the central. On this end is the Wan Chai end of the protest area, where this morning we saw police had cleared the barricades. So we'll see if they've been re-established or reset up again by the students on this end of the protest. It does look like what's happened here, as you can see students reinforcing this area, is that they've moved the barricades back. So they've moved back the occupation zone. So they've given up maybe about 30 meters, but they've reset up over here. They're currently setting up the barricades again as we see them here. So they've been pushed back by police. So rather than this protest zone ending towards the Wan Chai district, it's been pulled back about 30 meters, and students here now reinforcing and setting up the barricades at this end. Students are hard at work now, trying to reinforce these barricades so that they don't see a similar incident again happen tomorrow morning, when they were not prepared this morning for their barricades to be removed. So once we leave this area, we'll check out the back, where police have removed their barricades and they've now retreated towards this spot. So you see more barricades are being brought in to reinforce this end. Some more barricades again are being brought in by other student volunteers. And they're going to leave a little bit of a gap before setting up a secondary barricade a few meters down. So they're not going to use all their resources just making one barricade. It looks like they're preparing to make a double barricade, where these students right here are moving these barricades towards the back. As we move forwards, there still is a heavy police presence, because this is the area they did clear this morning. So we'll just take a look to see what's going on right up ahead. This is where we started this morning's broadcast from, where there were large amounts of barricades set up by the students, but you can see now they've all been removed. The students' barricades are no longer present here. This is quite disgusting. There are like flies everywhere because there's a chicken and a pig's nose, which looks like almost, that's our Chief Executive C.Y. Leung, and it almost looks like a sacrifice type of a thing, food sacrifice, similar to like a cemetery, the offerings people give in a cemetery when someone dies. And right up ahead, this is a police headquarters here. It's the Wan Chai Police Headquarters right ahead. These are the police barracks and police officers ahead of us, where there's about 30 to 40 officers. There are no more student barricades. Those big, clunky silver barricades we're used to seeing here have all been removed now. They're no longer present. Instead, there's only one line of these yellow barricades that we see, and the students have moved their barricades in front to reinforce both sides. But over here, the student barricades are no longer present, and there's just one line of these public works yellow barricades now with officers standing behind. They don't have their shields, the warning flags are not out, so it does look like they're done with their activities for the day. This is very different to how they were this morning, where they had their shields ready and their helmets, but right now they're just standing very calmly at this area. Here is a very peaceful lady. It looks almost like she's doing a yoga type pose, sitting very calmly in front of the police officers in a peaceful protest pose right here. And she is being joined now by a friend, it looks like. So there might be more students lined up here, as there are more police reinforcements arriving at the scene. So as there are students sitting on the front lines, it looks like a secondary reinforcement unit has arrived here, even though they've said publicly they're done for the day. But that announcement wasn't made on this end. That announcement was made in the central side of the street. So we don't know what will happen here, but it looks like there's been a secondary unit that's been deployed. So there are a lot of protesters who have come to this end now. Let's just jump over across to see what it looks like on the other side of the protest. So we're now on the other side of the fence or barricade, and here there are more people who actually camped out. They've brought their tents forward, their seats. They've set up their volunteer tent with a couch as well, and they are ready to defend this area. So even though the barricades are being reset up about 30 meters back, the students haven't given up this front line. They have not given up this front line. Even though the barricades are removed, the students are still sitting here, camped out here, and prepared to not give up an inch of this Occupy Central zone. The time is now 9:30 a.m. and we are now at the opposite end of the central protest. So we just showed you the central end where police have stopped clearing, they've stopped all their activities, but here on the other end, the Wanchai end, there still seems to be something going on where they have already removed one of the barricades of the students. So the lady in front is now joined by other students who are just sitting or sleeping peacefully here in the Wanchai end of the Occupy Central protest area. Umbrellas are being set up besides the barricades. So these new barricades which the police have put up So they've removed the student barricades, and these barricades have been set up by the police, where students and other protesters are now putting umbrellas, placing umbrellas in front of this new barricade. And the protesters actually sweeping up the streets. It's been called one of the most peaceful protests, and we can see here a student is actually sweeping the streets. And cleaning up the rubbish. So many students are now picking up litter and trash from the chaos that ensued here this morning when police did successfully remove one of the main barricades of the students in this area. So we're just going to wait to see here if there is a public announcement like they made on the other end in Central. It does look like there are some of these plainclothes negotiators who might actually give an announcement here like they did over at the Central end. So we'll just wait and see if there is any kind of an announcement to the protesters. Both sides just seem to be waiting anxiously. Protesters are sitting in their tent seats and couches that they've set up, holding hands. They're holding hands right here, the two gentlemen in the middle. As police are just on the other side of the barricades, watching. And inside one of the tents, we can actually see there's a message that says violence. It's a red flag, similar to the style that the police uses. And over the flag, they've written the word violence in English. You can see inside the red tent there. As police just stand no more than a few meters in front of them with just one thin plastic barricade separating protesters and the police. But in between there are members of the media, local and international media are here, so we doubt there's going to be an escalation because it's just too public at the moment. But both sides are just standing side by side in almost like a stalemate. We see an officer now in the back. They do have a megaphone, so they might announce something very soon, as we anticipated. The officer back there does have a megaphone, and there's warning flags next to that officer, and in front of them is the one in white, who's a more senior officer. So they might be getting ready for some kind of an announcement here shortly.
Oh, that's good. Sorry.
So more and more students and media are gathering at this point. Cameras have set up on the front lines, right in front of the police officers, as police officers have taken a step back. There's now an announcement by there he is. So he's given an announcement, the gentleman in the middle right there.
Thank you, thank you.
And this is the view the officers are seeing from their side. They're just seeing the protesters on the other end. And this is the police warning, the red warning flag that the protesters have written "No violence, civil disobedience" on top of. So the protesters have moved that shrine of Chief Executive C.Y. Leung to the front of the barricades here, as media is taking pictures of this. The protesters have now lined up umbrellas in front of all these barricades that have been set up by the police. Some more tents and more structures are actually being moved towards this end of the protest now. Students are really reinforcing this side, not with barricades, but with tents and people. Because they had their physical barriers removed, so now they're just camping out at the very edge instead of putting up more barricades. They're putting up tent structures and moving more people towards this end now. Some more of these mats have been moved to the front now, where protesters can sit on them rather than sit on the floor. And one's been given to the lady at the front here, who's been peacefully in her yoga pose, but probably doesn't want to be disturbed. But they've just set one mat behind her for later. Excuse me, sir. So we're currently live, broadcasting in English. So we had an update on the central end that police activities for today has ended, and that the lady in the police on central announced that police activities have stopped over there, and that they were just moving to clear the barricades in the morning. Can you confirm that's the same at this end as well? Police activities of clearing barricades finished?
At this moment, we are responsible for this chat line to secure the area without further expansion of the blockade.
Okay.
But we have no further instruction at the moment. We cannot confirm.
Okay. So already the barricades have been removed, so everyone's just in a holding position at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the update. So there we've had an update from one of the more senior officers who's dressed in white, and what he's told us is they're just holding this position for now, and they're looking to resolve this as peacefully as possible. So while on the central end there's confirmation that the activities for today have stopped, over at this end we didn't quite get that confirmation that all activities have stopped. Instead, they've told us that they're holding this end for now, awaiting further instruction. So we don't know what's going to happen exactly on this end, but we can see students stepping up reinforcements by bringing more tents and more people over here.
at 9:50 a.m. Monday, local time here in Hong Kong. So over the bridge ahead, we can see there's a large amount of officers crossing. Maybe a couple hundred officers are now walking across the top of this bridge. Quarters now. So we can see there's a lot of reinforcements moving right up ahead of us. So, you know, they're very, very polite, saying, excuse me, asking us to not get in the way here. So they're moving more of these structures towards the very, very front of this police protest zone that's been set up. And you can see here, they're actually drawing on the umbrellas. They're writing some messages here in Cantonese on top of these umbrellas. So the police on this end have been instructed to be in a holding position. We got confirmation from one of the more senior officers here that their instructions are to stand by and stay on hold. On the central end, they've been asked to stand down for the day, but on this end, they are still on standby. As you can see, the officer in the background with the flags. So we're not sure exactly why they've decided to stand down on one end, but on this end, they've just decided to remain. So we're just going to follow the situation here in the Wanchai end of the Occupy Central Zone. So this end is where more and more people seem to be gathering. The press and the students seem to now that the central side has calmed down.
Hundreds of them moved at a number of different locations and stripped some of the barricades. Now, in the police words, the aim was to relieve Monday traffic, not to clear the scene. So you had no violence. It's a peaceful situation right now, and the main objectives are still here. Perhaps government also indicated suggesting that the protest has grown out of control while protest leaders they addressed the letter not in full revolution. This was a pro-democracy movement asking for universal suffrage. So the standoff continues, but at least probing the responses of the demonstrators, really for the first time in more than 2 weeks since this began, largely in response to police use tear gas and pepper spray. A move that attracted a lot of popular sympathy for the protest.
So next to the police barricades, you can actually see there are a lot of different flags and nationalities with messages of support here as well. As more people do head towards this end of the protest now. But the numbers are still relatively small, as most of the people have gone to work here on Monday morning, and the people who have remained actually do look like students, most of them. So instead of going to classes, the students have come out here. However, it looks like the adults that are supporting the movement have gone to work. So the numbers are not very big at the moment. There's no more than maybe 100 students gathered at the Wan Chai end of the Occupy Central area. So now multiple sources, we've spoken directly to one of the officers here in the scene, and also the international media now reporting they're in a holding position. It looks like they are done with their activities on this end as well. So I think this might be a good time to sign off, and we'll rejoin everyone with a live broadcast later tonight. Thank you for joining us here in Hong Kong. Hope we were able to give you a clear update of the situation, and we'll return later tonight for another update. Thank you. Bye.